I'm going to talk about women entrepreneurs in general. And current with the pandemic, what should be done after the COVID-19 is the most required topic that people suggested I should talk about. And if I go after 10 years, I wasn't considered myself as an entrepreneur. I have those kind of skills and working with the civic society organization and media, journalism, organizing the community. And so by the time like now I develop all these skills, and after 10 years I find that I can use my skills to develop other young people who are looking to start their next journey. So our topic is going to be about the socioeconomic woman entrepreneur in the continent. So let me start by, in the continent, there is 80% of African women who are employed informally. Matter of fact, 10,000 African women are entrepreneur in the last 10 years. And those women have practiced businesses, and they help in increasing the economy up to $1,000 billion. We are talking within the last 10 years. So they have been part of the economy and the income of the national countries. Let us address the challenges that women face in the continent when it comes to entrepreneur. First, it starts by socially the issue of patriarchy structure that we have in our social sector, that handling women back from achieving their goals, that doesn't provide for them the basic need, the food, shelter, and health. And also from there, women don't have access to education, access to be economically independent, and from there to be entrepreneur. The next thing, we can talk about the choice itself, the choice of the sectors. There is no enough information for women in general about how they can be an entrepreneur, how can they start doing it, from where they can start, even within the household or in the society in general. And let me move to the next level also. We can say the absence of a strategic plan that addressed by the government in general. So this is also a challenge, and that go to the point that there is lack of capital. They don't have access to asset, access to financial aid and loan, and from there, that's why it affect their economic status also, and that's why we have less women represented in entrepreneur. And let me talk about that. There's some countries that have implemented also the mainstreaming system, like the quota to improve women situation and increase their representation in the public sector or in the entrepreneur itself. So most of these countries haven't been implemented their policies, and that is why we have less women. And taking also into account that there is those women who are in the decision making don't have the abilities. Sometimes there is some challenges that they faced, like the ability to reach these communities and to address their issue when it comes to the public sector and also in the executive positions. Sub-Saharan African, one of the amazing regions in the continent, have the largest, have most of it's the only region that women were become more entrepreneur in the last 10 years. So entrepreneur are still important for women, and the right to be economically independent. The UN resolution 1325 talk about women and security, women, peace and security. Basically, what it said that women have the right to live in peace and that's also go with the development, peace and development. And so they have the right to live, to have the human right, the basic human right needs that they're supposed to have, and to be economically independent, and to be part of the development of the country, and also this security, like they have to live in a secure place. From there they can practice their rights as human beings. Also, the African Charter, 1987, Article B talk about the women socioeconomic rights. Women have the rights to be economically independent and practice their right within the society, within the country itself. I mostly like to focus in governments and the policies that they came up with and implement, and also the local initiative more than the international support, and also this kind of that come from outside, from the biggest nonprofit organization. And here also, let me highlight that there is a lot of organizations that are doing work under the ground, like the UN, the World Bank. They have been implementing this project of microfinance, women microfinance support. Like, for example, the UN has done several projects in South Sudan and Ethiopia by providing women. In Ethiopia, they have provided women with loans for a period of 10 years. And then in South Sudan, recently during the pandemic, they have been providing women to start this project for making soap and sell it to the market. And that was part of them encouraging women to be more to continue the entrepreneurship and their businesses during the lockdown. So let me move ahead to the government. Some countries, some African countries, have implemented the commercial infrastructure in the government system, and they support the program like entrepreneur and women in general. And let me take example of Nigeria and Ghana, who have worked successfully on that also. And Nigeria has done that also for youth in the last 10 years, and it was one of the most successful project that has done in the continent during Dr. Ngozi when she was the Ministry of Finance in Nigeria. Moving forward recently to and the challenge of the status quo and COVID-19 and how that has affected women and young people in general. We have 60% of the African health worker in the front responder on the front line were women. That's a big number. Egypt herself has 91% of women who were responded in the front line, and country like Mali have 11%. We have been following what is going on Mali from the unstable political situation and development, and taking into account that 11% of women who are health worker, and the others who are being part of also the social change and go to the who have been were in the street and protest, and so they have been part of the socioeconomic and also change. There is less income during the COVID-19 in most of the African countries for women and young people in general. But there is important things, because also historically it has happened that during the Ebola crisis in 2014, the West African country have suffered more during that crisis economically, and that affects populations of women and young people. And currently, again, with the COVID-19, the situation gets worse. The COVID-19 pandemic has affected some of women who have businesses job, like women who are working in tourism, women who are selling food on the public markets, women who are working in the retail sale. So this is how it is on the ground there. The impact also, there is impact of the border closing, and during since February, if we have been following since February up to today, a lot of the countries that have closed their borders to take the safety measurement of COVID-19. Countries like Ethiopia depend on 50% of the textile worker. In the textile worker are women, and this is when the border is closed. This is decrease, lower the paid. The work and also the women who are getting paid. So from there, we have less women who have been working and get paid. So okay, and also another important issue, there was increase in the domestic violence during COVID-19. We follow recently Kenya has 34% of COVID of violence cases has been reported lately, and country like South Africa also. There were rape issues. There were cases of women who was killed by her boyfriend, and women who have been beaten in the street. And if we take a country like South Africa separately, South African women participate like 5% of the national income to the South Africa income in general. So that does mean if those women have stopped working only for 1 week or for 1 month, the economic of South Africa will suffer, and there will be like less income that is coming to the country itself. And then also, because of the COVID, and most of the people are moving virtually, and the virtually that require technology, it require access to information and the right devices to be able to get information, to be able to access businesses also, that also leverage women and young people back from being entrepreneur, from having a stable income that is coming to them. Taken to that, the other challenges that they don't have access to practice their activities, to improve their livelihood and stability. I will move forward to the strategic plan. What need to be done? Initiatives. We can start by initiative that motivate young people and women to entrepreneur business. And also, I see, if I take, for example, countries like that, countries like DRC Congo and also Burkina Faso, where youth organize themselves and they reach the local community to teach them about COVID-19 safety measurement and how they can practice this measurement to continue working in the business and providing for their families. Also, a design and an action plan within the government that have a mainstream for women, and they have to be consistently implemented. It's still countries like South Sudan on that. They have given the woman 35% mainstreaming for more women to be in the decision making, to be able to address the challenges that other women have under the ground. But they haven't been implementing it. So what is required that it have to be implemented and work under the ground. Some of the challenges also, like because women have been facing these social challenges, and that limit them from access to be economically independent, and access to also take, for example, some cultures like women don't have the right to to inherit, don't have the right to decide for themselves and livelihood. So what is required, that should be a constitution and laws also that give the woman the right to be represented socially, and they have the right to practice their livelihood and their economic independency in general. So NGOs, if I'm talking about NGOs, either is local NGOs or international NGOs also, they should be able to provide young women and girls with the right information, education, also, and communication. We have to work in capacity building of these younger people to be able to be independently. Free trade area implementation, that there is a lot of opportunities will be open for people in the continent. Freedom of movement without restriction, doesn't require travel document and visas. There is more opportunity that we will be having the opportunities to interact with people from different country and learn from different experience. Take, for example, country, someone from Nigeria and someone from Ghana. These two countries work in a different financial models. We can benefit from each other the experience, or we can find a financial model that we can work together with, an exchange and an export of goods, and exchange also of experience between those populations and young women and youth in general, and also use the technology and the railway to be part of the innovation and the development of the continent. And in that context also, there's people who are in the diaspora who have the technology and experience and knowledge that they can work together and implement it to be able to achieve the development and building the infrastructure of the continent. Because we are in the 21st century, we are talking about technology and uniting youth and women, and this issues of social change, issues of entrepreneur. Women are coming together, youth are coming together to form an international platform where they can see themselves in, be part of the decision making and what change they want to make. Also, young women should just self-motivate themselves, get access to information and education and communication as much as they can, and continue working on that. And I forget to highlight also some of the two African countries that have worked well in representing women in the decision making to be able to address the challenges that women underground have. Countries like Rwanda, for example, most of parliament in Rwanda are represented by women. And also Ethiopia have also worked good on that. 69% of women who are in parliament are Ethiopian. That's also, this is hope, and this is telling us, and with the upgoing initiative that youth have started and the movement in the continent and globally, young women and youth also in the right direction. And it's just a matter of time and practicing it and consistent to what we are doing to achieve what we want to do. I'm going to close here. The effect of COVID-19 is socioeconomic dynamic women, entrepreneur, and what should be done after COVID-19. And I will be having more series to talk about different issues and discuss different issues. You can send me suggestions of the topics that you want me to talk about or to highlight. Also, that is how we can benefit from each other, experience and knowledge. And it starts from here. Change, this is how change starts, as I always say, and don't wait for it to come. Thank you. Bye.